Jen Glantz is CEO of the company Bridesmaid for Hire. She's a professional bridesmaid and wrote a memoir about her experiences, and she's joining me this morning. Thank you so much, Jen.
Thank you for having me.
So I love this story and I love the concept. Let's talk about your light bulb moment. How did you get this idea this could be a business?
All of my friends in my early 20s got engaged, and I was always the bridesmaid. And that is when I started to realize that there is nobody in the $72 billion wedding industry whose job it is to be there for the people getting married. So I got the idea of why not putting myself out there through a Craigslist ad to see if anyone wanted to hire me as their bridesmaid. And it turns out thousands of people did.
I love that. So why do people ask you to be their professional bridesmaid? Is it because they feel friends and family are irresponsible, that they might party too much, they need wrangling? What are the reasons? Maybe they don't have enough friends and they want a bigger wedding party?
You are spot on. It's a combination of both reasons. Some people hire me because they don't have any friends, which I know sounds weird, but that happens to a lot of people. And other people hire me because they have friends, but they want a professional to be there by their side and also deal with the chaos and the drama of their friend group.
Yes, that happens a lot with the drama. I've been on a few bachelorette parties that needed a professional bachelorette wrangler. So let's talk about your services. What do you provide and how much are they?
The main service I provide is the Bridesmaid for Hire service, where I show up, I wear the dress, walk down the aisle, sometimes give the maid of honor speech. I often go to bachelorette parties, engagement parties, bridal showers, and that package starts at around $2,000. And I also do maid of honor speech writing for those that need a professional to write their toast.
That's awesome. And have you ever been found out that you weren't actually the friend?
There have been some close calls where people almost found out that I was hired, but part of my job is to keep it a complete secret, to have a fake name, a fake backstory, and sometimes to even change how I look.
And when you have a professional bridesmaid, can you save money in other ways? Do you not need a wedding coordinator? Should you invest in other ways, or are you actually helping them save money?
A lot of times when you hire a professional bridesmaid, you are helping them save money because you are having that outsider, that third-party person to look over all your contracts, to tell you what you need, what you don't need, and to help you find ways to cut costs. Also, a professional bridesmaid can serve as that day of coordinator, making sure things are running on time, making sure your vendors, your friends, and your family are all happy and doing their job.
So I love the concept. Can you just talk about some examples of how you've really made a bride's day better, or you've saved them from something horrible happening?
I think one thing people don't realize is that weddings are super chaotic and there's a lot of drama that happens. I have had so many people who have had cold feet where I've had to handle their cold feet 5 minutes before they get married. I've had wedding crashers I've had to help escort out of the party. I've been in between fights, breaking up fights at a wedding before. I've had missing grooms. I've seen it all. And without a professional like me, you're relying on your friends and family to step in, and they might not know what to do.
So let's talk about you. You seem so sweet, so pretty. Do you get tough when the time calls for it? Tell me some secret weapons that you have in your arsenal.
Well, I've been in New York for 10 years, so I do have a little bit of that New Yorker in me, but a lot of what I try to do is use humor. You know, it's interesting because at these weddings, yes, people are taking advantage of the open bar. I am not. So as that sober person in the room, I like to break things up with humor and honesty. A big reason why people hire me is because nobody else in their life is honest with them, and I am that person who has nothing to lose, so I bring that honesty to them.
Okay, so I was in a wedding where I had a bridezilla, and I was pretty close to the friend, but I couldn't really keep her in check. What do you do when you've been hired by a bridezilla?
Oftentimes I am hired by people who might be a little bit more challenging, or even people I wouldn't be friends with in real life. A lot of what I have to remember is that I am being paid to do a service, which sometimes mean I am being paid to get yelled at. People yell at me, people cry to me, people bring all of their emotions to me. I can't take it personally, and I have to remember that after that 8 hours of the wedding, I am free to go and I will never see that person again.
Are there any people you've worked with that you've stayed in touch with that you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I'd met you outside of this?
There's a couple people over the years that I have maintained a relationship with. The very first person who hired me, Ashley from Minnesota, we're still friends till this day, but that's very rare. I'd say I've worked with hundreds of people, and I'm really only friends with about 10 to 15 of them years later.
Yeah, that's a lot of people to maintain friendships with. I get that. So you said your first client was 2014. I think the Kevin Hart movie, The Wedding Ringer, came out the year after. So were you surprised when you saw this film? Did you watch it? What did you think?
I loved the film, but I thought this is so not what I do. This is so not realistic to what a bridesmaid for hire really is. That film, they're partying, they're having fun. Yeah, there's drama here and there, but my job is a constant situation of pop-up problems, emotional challenges, tears, blood, sweat. I mean, it is the kind of job that is emotionally, physically, and just exhausting all around. And I think that that movie didn't accurately portray what true bridesmaid for hire really does. And I think what I do is half funny, half fun, but also really not glamorous in so many ways.
Well, you mentioned glamorous. Now, we know it's not glamorous because, like you said, blood, sweat, and tears. What is the most over the top? Like, do you have any glamorous stories where you've traveled or it's just been an over the top wedding?
You know, I've worked weddings that are $3,000 and $300,000. I have truly seen all kinds of weddings. I mean, I've worked weddings in old palaces, in giant hotels that are so extravagant and lavish. I have worked weddings for all different kinds of people. I've also worked really fun weddings in Las Vegas, things that maybe I would never get to experience on my own. So I have truly seen it all. And what I can honestly say is there is no one wedding that is the same. Everybody is different. Everyone's love is different. And that is why I still do this job 6 years later.
And since you have the experience of working so many weddings and from an inside perspective, what would you say are ways that people should splurge or save on their weddings since we are in June?
I would say, look, come up with your top 3 must-haves. These are the top 3 things that you want to have no matter what, no matter how much they cost. Everything else, you can really negotiate the price or you can cut along the way. In my personal opinion, after going to hundreds of weddings, I will tell you that there are only 3 things that really matter, that people really enjoy. Number 1 is good food. Number 2 is an open bar. And number 3 is the entertainment and the music. Everything else people don't remember and they don't appreciate. So cut costs there.
Okay, those are good tips. Is there anything I haven't asked you about that you would love to share?
You know, a lot of people will reach out to me and say, Jen, how do I work for you? Are you hiring? Over the years, we've had over 100,000 people want to work for us, and we do hire. Every now and then we have requests for people who want to have 5 bridesmaids at their wedding or 10 bridesmaids at their wedding. So we're always hiring and we're always looking for new people to join the team. But I will warn you, this job is not what you think it is.
And when you said some people don't have friends, I always think, you know, people want to call those people losers, but sometimes they have a very busy work life, or maybe they just moved. Can you give me some examples of why people do it so people don't automatically assume, oh, I would never do that. I wouldn't know somebody who would do that. It might be closer than they think, right?
Absolutely. It's 1 in 4 people out there do not have a best friend, which is something that happens to people in their life. You know, we grow away from friends, both location-wise and also emotionally. Sometimes we throw ourselves so much into our career that we grow apart from people. Other times we just haven't made a recent connection with anyone. And sometimes we just don't feel like we have that right support system who we want there by our side. So before you judge people as to why they'd hire a professional bridesmaid, just know that everyone's life is very different, and some people just want that added support, and there is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I just think of people who post on Instagram the best moments of their lives. So of course, why wouldn't you want the one special day to go off perfectly planned if you have friends who are a hot mess or no friends at all?
I agree with you. And you know what? I think even if you have friends, you don't have friends, having a professional who can step in and make sure everyone feels comfortable, everyone's having a good time, and can take on the dirty work, that is exactly why people pay me to do what I do.
Thank you so much, Jen. And so we have your website, Bridesmaid for Hire. You have your memoirs. Is there anything else that you want to mention? Because I know you have a lot going on.
Yeah, you can find me, bridesmaidforhire.com. I have a new project where people are voting on my wedding, finally, thebride.com. You can vote on my actual wedding, and you can come hang out with me on Instagram at bridesmaidforhire, always posting honest truth and a lot of fun facts there as well.
So wait, you're about to get married. Tell me about your wedding party. Now I have to know, are you going to be hiring some people? Are you working with professional bride? I mean, you basically have your pick of whatever you want to do.
After you go to so many weddings, it becomes so confusing what you want. So that's why I built this website, finallythebride.com, where strangers come and vote on everything. So I'm turning over my most precious and intimate decisions to the world to vote on. Should I hire bridesmaids? Should I not have bridesmaids? That's all up for people to vote on for a future wedding in 2022.
Is there anything you won't let them choose, like your dress, or I'm sure everything isn't on the site, right? Your hairstyle? I mean, is there anything you're keeping special for yourself?
Everything is on the site, from budget to flowers to dress, but the only thing that is non-negotiable for me is that I will have pizza at this wedding. I love pizza, I want pizza, and that is what I'm going to have, even though people try to talk me out of it.
Isn't that awesome? Here you've been to all these glamorous weddings and you want pizza. It shows, it's comfort food, it's delicious, and nobody ever turns down pizza.
You love what you love, and you should integrate that into your wedding, even if people around you don't accept it or don't understand it.
I love it. You're original and you're staying true to yourself. Thank you so much, Jen. It's so nice to meet you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Oh, and before you go, I found you on TikTok, but are you on all the other social media apps?
Yep, everything. Bridesmaid for Hire on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all those places.
And where are you getting the best feedback from?
I would say I get a lot of comments from TikTok and Instagram too. I mean, both of those with the videos have just completely blown up, and people are just asking so many questions about this job.
I love it. Thank you so much, Jen.